Recording. Hi, everybody. We are going to talk about divine love, divine intelligence, and divine power, or the three spiritual energies. And so when we are looking at what we call a holistic practice, a lot of times you have to go through and do something over and over again. Like say you're taking herbs. You're taking herbs, every day. Like in the morning you get up, you take your herbs. If you're getting a chiropractic adjustment, you don't get one adjustment and then it's done. You kind of go on a weekly basis or a monthly basis to get this done. So basically you have a bit of a schedule where you're going through and you're treating these things. And so with that, let's look at the aspects of spiritual energies and how that plays a role in our healing. So first, we're going to look at the nature of each of these energies. So first, we look at divine power. Another way of saying divine power is creative destruction, right? Creative destruction. You're basically breaking something down for something new to come in, Like if you were to do creative destruction in the body, it would be going through and doing a detoxification process. Or it could even be like a surgery where you have something removed so that there can be a new function that's in place, right? You're basically removing something so there can be a new action or a new behavior. And this is intense and it's hard to maintain. It's not something you do all the time. It's something you do from time to time, right? It's like you go to the bathroom a couple of times a day. You go pee 3 or 4 times a day. You might go to the bathroom, number 2, and then, boom. If you were doing creative destruction all the time, it would be like being on the toilet all the time, like never getting up. And so after a while, it becomes depleting. So with creative destruction, you're doing it for a little bit and then you let it integrate, right? You let the body, the emotions, and the mind acclimate to the shifts and changes that happens. Then you have divine love. So this is a place of stability. This is providence. This is where life is good, life is stable, life is not chaotic. You're being supported, you're being nurtured, you have the potential for growth. Divine love, really, when you boil it down, is providence. It's being provided for. So really, what we're looking for in our life, if you think about most spiritual traditions are talking about, love yourself, love your neighbor, love, activate the heart. They're basically trying to help us to cultivate the divine love aspect because it provides stability in our life, right? And then from that place of stability, from time to time, you can do creative destruction, right? If your body is in total chaos and you do a detox, it throws the body into deeper chaos. And so if your life is in a chaotic state and you do a lot of creative destruction, it just throws it into a deeper state of chaos. There's no order, there's no stability. So providence can also be order. Like, you've set up a system where life has some order that allows you to thrive and pursue the potentials of life, be it relationships or prosperity or your spiritual practice. You're able to pursue these things because life is stable, right? Then you have divine intelligence. Now, divine intelligence is based on the law of cycles. The thing, if you look out in nature, everything is based on the law of cycles. The sun is up, the sun goes down. It's light, it's dark. Stores are open, stores are closed. You are awake and you're active, and then you're asleep and you're resting and you're inactive, right? So you have the cycle of activity and then you have the cycle of inactivity. Now, if you notice, when you have particular issues in your life, when you have particular difficulties in your life, they're not constant. They are also on a cycle. You know, like say you're in a relationship and you have an argument in the relationship, and then you resolve it and things get better. And then a couple months goes by and then boom, you have that same argument again, right? So these tendencies within the relationship are in a cycle, right? They're based on a cycle. And so if you notice, when you're having difficulties in your life, they're not constant. They come up and then they go away, and then they come up and they go away, and they come up and they go away. So what happens over a period of time is, if nothing's done about these negative cycles, we tend to tailspin and head down the rabbit hole of degenerating, right? You're up and you're down. So this is the high point where things are getting better, and the low point is where it's coming up and it's degenerating. And so you're up and you're down, you're up and you're down. And what happens if you don't resolve this, it keeps going down and down and down. And so after a year or two, the high point is much lower than it was the year prior, right? So now, if you put things in place, like, okay, we are going to do therapy once a month. We're going to go to church every Sunday. I'm going to meditate 2 or 3 times a week. We're going to, like, say it's in a relationship, we're going to spend time together working on the relationship 1 time a week. You know, we have busy schedules, but we're going to work on the relationship 1 time a week. So basically, you're utilizing the law of cycles by establishing a schedule where you are having these activities that are happening. You know, you're meditating, you're doing church, you're doing therapy, you're getting your chiropractic adjustment, you're going to the acupuncturist, whatever it is. So every time something negative comes up, you already have something built into your schedule that already starts to address this particular issue. So it starts to come up and boom, it's disintegrated. So you're utilizing the law of cycles to address the negative cycles that come up in your life, right? And so as you keep utilizing the law of cycles in a positive way, you keep disintegrating these patterns that come up and go away, come up and go away. And so even though there might be a high or low, it's always kind of moving on an upward cycle. And so even your low spot is higher than it was 3 months ago or 6 months ago. So this is through harnessing divine intelligence or the law of cycles. Now, when you properly harness the law of cycles, it produces providence or divine love. So really, when you go through and you are doing something on a regular basis, you're taking your herbs, you're doing your massages or your chiropractic adjustment, or you're working on your relationship once a week, or you're going to church, whatever it might be, you're harnessing the law of cycles to eventually produce providence or divine love. And from the place of divine love, then you can pursue creative destruction, where you're purifying the body, the emotions, and the mind to pursue a deeper connection to the soul. So sometimes you'll notice you might meet somebody who is very loving. They're very loving to the people around them. But if you step outside of that circle, they're not very loving. You know, they're not bad people, but they're just good to the people that they know and who are close to them, right? So these are people who are very loving. They've cultivated providence, but they haven't tapped into the creative destruction aspect, right? They haven't increased the connection to the higher soul. And so this manifests as being harsh with people that aren't close to them, right? And so as you go through and you diminish the negative tendencies within yourself through creative destruction, you start to develop unconditional love, because you're starting to activate more of the upper centers. And so when somebody has tapped into creative destruction, You can tell because the level or degree of unconditional love or unconditional acceptance keeps increasing and keeps manifesting as service to others, service to people, even people outside their circle that they might not even know, and even further, might even be doing service or being having unconditional acceptance to people who have even caused them harm. And so with this, if you harness if you harness divine intelligence, and then it produces divine love or providence, you're really on a path to eventually cultivating unconditional love through the aspect of creative destruction, right? So doing your oil protocols, doing your meditation, going to church, all these things are harnessing divine intelligence. So the best thing you can do for yourself is figure out the things that you would like to do to improve your life, create a schedule, and then just let gravity do what it's going to do. You're already on the right path by going through and doing this. So I hope that helps, and hope to talk to you sometime soon. Take care.